Right, we're going. Today I am chatting with Phoebe Jameson, and she is a body positivity advocate.
Yeah.
And she has loads of incredible stories. She's doing amazing things for young people and for mental health and for fat shaming, and you're talking about everything that is important and everything that's really, really resonates with me. And I basically think you are wonderful, and I would like to tell your story and to talk to you about sizing and clothes and shopping.
All that good stuff.
And a bit of mental health as well.
Yes, definitely.
So, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Phoebe, and I'm from Bristol, near Bristol. And yeah, I've come today with Heidi to have a conversation, do a bit of modelling, have a chat about lots of good stuff. I try and I'm a big body positive advocate. I've been like that for a couple of years now. I've been trying to even think what my words are not coming out. So I've suffered fat shaming before, definitely, we can talk about that, and body shaming, and for a long time I thought bigger was bad, and now we're on the flip side of that, bigger is beautiful, and having that conversation today about all of that.
We just had a bit of a conversation on the couch when Phoebe just got here, and we were like, and we're like, we need to save this for when we're on air because this is so amazing. But basically, we've had similar experiences, although I think that you have had a lot harder over time, and basically talking about how being bullied in high school for your weight and the way you looked.
The bigger gal, I think. At school, I was there were a few big people, but I was definitely one of the biggest, and for a long time, me and my family didn't know why I was bigger. That was the other thing. I had a personal trainer. I was trying to eat well, and I'd still put on weight. Periods went, so then obviously went to the doctors. That all got diagnosed and sorted. But I was at school, even in this was 2-3 years ago, still targeted, even in that the society we're in now. Still. Just fat shaming, it's just fat shaming.
We think we've come so far, and the fact that you're still getting...
No.
You went on Women's Hour.
Yeah.
Phoebe went on Women's Hour, not once, but twice, to talk about this, and...
That's my biggest flex, that I've been on Women's Hour.
Biggest flex?
Yeah.
God, I'm too old for that. I don't know what you mean, flex.
Flex, I've done that.
Okay, biggest.
Just yeah.
Oh, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
So what did you talk about Women's Hour? What did you do on the first time and the second time? Why did they invite you back?
So I'm going to tell the true story. I was on the toilet scrolling through Instagram. And
we love an overshare here. So you're on the toilet.
Yeah. And I saw a post that said, "How does fat feel?" And at first I was like, "Oh, come on BBC, that's a bit of a personal question." And then I was like, I'd been quite badly bullied that day for my weight. I was nicknamed the whale at school, so I'd been I can't remember exactly what happened, but I remember that there was a lot of emotion running through me.
Okay.
So I saw this post, I put a comment, and I put my age, and I put my size, and I just said what fat shaming has done to me as a young woman. I was still a teenager then.
How old were you?
I was 16. So let that all out, and then someone got in touch with us, me and my mum, and we arranged an interview. She came down to Bristol. We did a shopping.
From Women's Hour. Got in touch with you.
Yes, from Women's Hour.
Whoa.
Through Instagram. So at first we were like, "Is this real?" And then it was real. So this interview was pre-recorded, and we went around Bristol shopping, and we'll talk about shopping because we'll get onto that later about all of that, because that's a whole other thing. And I had been shopping for a few years, so it was a very weird experience, but it was good. So we did some interview there, and then we did some at my home, and that was all done.
Even now it's quite raw, isn't it?
I get emotional talking about it, because it's just the comparison of where I am now to where I was then. It's just really...
Would you say it was here?
Oh God, yeah. I was lowest place I could be, and now it's body beautiful all the time. Well, not all. No, this is the thing. I say that, and then after I think no, because I'm not body positive all the time. This is another thing. Body neutrality is just being okay with yourself.
Wait, what did you say?
Body neutrality. So this is something that's like coming up at the moment. So it's like not being in this constant, I love myself, I hate myself, being like, you know what, I'm alright, and that's fine. I'm okay with my body. It's not like all the time, look at me, I look beautiful, but it's just, you know, just being happy. Yeah, I'm happy, I'm comfortable, I'm stable with my body. Or not body, with your mind as well and all of that, and your lifestyle. But it's just, I try and push that forward as much as, because body positivity is lovely, but it's not realistic all the time. We're not all happy with ourselves all the time.
Yeah, that's so true. So even the other day I put about, I had no makeup on, I almost felt like I had to apologise for having no makeup on.
I know, yeah, no, I
I've
saw
got
that.
googly
Like,
eyes.
you look beautiful.
And someone commented back and said, you can't preach like self-love.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh gosh, but A, you're right.
Yeah.
But B, I just wanted to I was trying, it was just,
it comes from your own insecurity in yourself, I guess, and it's,
But it's so strange because I was like, I thought I was being good for showing photos with no makeup, but then actually I was belittling, going, oh, no makeup, and I look...
almost the point you were trying to make.
Yeah, and I was like, gosh, but it's that people calling you out for that is great, I think, and really, because it makes you think, oh, hold on, actually, no, you're right, and like, I'm alright with it.
And then you can like improve from there, because it's like that thinking process, you're like, oh, yeah, no, I have that.
Yeah.
Because I was so, on Instagram, because I'm very active on social media, I was so body positive all the time, constantly, and then it was kind of like, no, because I have struggles in my life, I do, and I do still struggle with my body sometimes, I've self-harmed and all of that, so it's just trying to show both sides, if you know what I mean, to try and weigh up that, there's the good, there's the bad, show both of it online, I think is important. Obviously you don't have to go in depth about everything, but like, just...
Yeah, I think that's what part of the reason why I love you so much, and I think you're wonderful. It's in 2 years, you've completely flipped it.
Yeah.
And I just think the courage that you are doing such an inspiring thing for so many people, and I'm inspired by you all the time. That's why I wanted to talk to you, and because I know that I know that you're talking like. Every single day you're going to help somebody.
I hope so.
And by just being yourself. And that's exactly what with aesthetic laundry I wanted to do through clothing. Every single day I want someone to feel like the best version of themselves that they put on, whether it's just a simple black top or something, but I just want them to feel, or something a bit jazzier. I just want them to feel like accepted, good about themselves.
And have that love for yourself. That's such a thing, self-love. It's like, oh, then you're a narcissist, or you're like, you've got a god complex because you love yourself, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
If you can literally love someone else, love yourself, as RuPaul.
Yeah, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love somebody else? Love it. Okay, right, we're gonna go into some questions.
Yes, lovely.
The first one being, then this is a bit of an open question.
Okay.
But we touched on it a little bit before, but describe your relationship with clothing.
Okay.
And your experiences with shopping.
Okay.
Because you said like when you were on Women's Hour, you really got worried about going on the second time you were on Women's Hour. You got really worried about going shopping and the fact that they wanted you to go shopping, and so talk about.
So sizing and clothing, I think, is a weird one. Being a larger woman, because I'm very open that I'm, obviously I'm open. I am large, but like I talk about that. I acknowledge it. It's not a bad thing to me, but as a society, with sizing and clothing, it's what we talked about this, didn't we? So like you said, like extra smalls at the front, and then all the large stuff is at the back, and that's like, oh, we don't have all of that, or oh, that's sold out, and it's so minimal. But it's like, and this is the other thing, our bodies change so much all the time. We're not always going to stay one size. It's just not, and in other shops, you're not going to be the same size either, are you? We were talking about this earlier. We were saying how in different places, I'm a different size. If I can be a 14 in one place, I'm going to be a 20 or 22 in the other place. It literally just depends.
Yeah.
So I think I used to be so obsessed with what size I was. Like constantly, if I was large or extra large or XXL, I'd be like, oh God, I feel disgusting. I used to hate it so much. I hated the fact that I was ever bigger than... I thought if I was bigger than a 16, that was like the worst thing in my life. I hated it. And then it kind of took... understanding why my body was gaining weight, or like why all these other stuff, and understanding the science behind it, and understanding like there's not a lot I can do to change it right now, because I was put on some medication.
Metabolism.
Yeah, so my metabolism wasn't working properly.
Okay.
So sugar would build up, and that would mean my fat stores weren't, or was it something to do with my pancreatic? something.
Gosh, right.
Yeah, so it would just make my weight gain, and then my thyroid not working was underactive, so that can make you sleepy and sluggish anyway, and it can cause weight gain. Meds I was on can cause weight gain, so there was different factors. Like I had an eating problem for a while, and sometimes portion
eating
control.
problem with eating not enough food or eating too much food
to make myself, I think, feel better. But there's been phases where I just haven't eaten enough food, because that's a whole other thing. Eating's a weird one, I think. It's very personal. So all these different factors would make me be the size I was. So when I finally kind of understood that, and when things were starting working, I lost a little bit of weight. That kind of made this whole like self-love thing sort of start, and made me realise, you know what, like F to sizing, honestly, it doesn't matter, and I think it is such a thing. We were talking about like shopping when I was younger, going to like shopping parties, like for when with friends and stuff, and then all these girls, because one thing is I went through puberty a lot quicker than lots of other people.
Okay.
Sort of a period quite early. I got boobs before other girls did, and so I was already a different size. I was already getting stretch marks on my stomach because my weight was changing. I was already getting hair and all of that, and cellulite, and no other person around me in my social circle looked like that. So it was really, really tricky to kind of not think I was like a monster, or like this like gross, big, horrible thing. And now when I think of that I once thought that I was gross, I'm like, really? Because now I'm like, nah, I'm beautiful. And it's just that, it's so weird reflecting on it. And me and Mum reflect on a lot of this, quite a lot, don't we? I think it's how we heal from it. But
on how, what do you think has changed? Sorry, we're going a bit deep now, but what do you think has changed? The fact that you once felt like that and now you feel like you're okay?
I think a whole variety of things. I think the main ones would definitely be the content I'm consuming online. So following like brands or like people who are doing really good things and doing a good message, but also having that balance of message as well, and their honesty, and it's not this fake sort of social media life and all of that, like and there's such thing as being the perfect body, and it's all that like natural women. I follow people who like post pictures. Someone called Diet Culture Sucks, and she like posts pictures with her rolls, so she's like, I'm sat in the mirror, I'm not going to go like this because this is how I feel comfy, and I'm going to show you that.
This is how a real person
is. This is how a real person. We don't all sit like this and suck in, do we? We don't. No. It's not comfy for anyone. So it's like stuff like that consuming that content, because we live in a very digital age. We're consuming a lot of social media. I go on Instagram every day. I sometimes wish I'm trying to break that a bit more, because I'm trying to enjoy real life a bit more. But
we're all guilty of that.
Yeah. But it's kind of that. Yeah, the content needs that. I did a big change. Unfollowed people from school who didn't make me feel happy. Unfollowed famous people who just didn't make me feel happy, but you felt like you needed to like keep up with their life.
Yeah,
that's the one
like
thing.
Kendall Jenner, you said you unfollowed recently.
And I was like, why am I following Kendall Jenner? I don't care about her. What is she doing for the world? Like, seriously, is she doing anything? But another thing was like definitely change of surroundings. Moving on from school, finding new friends was a big thing.
Okay. So funnily enough, mine was that I got better when I left high school, and then I said I just didn't want to be around people that made me feel like rubbish. So not saying everyone in high school did, but just saying generally, like I didn't want to be attached, like so I went to a completely different sixth form where I knew nobody.
It's that same.
And then, but you still get. So yes, I was 16, still a bit shy, but and still very conscious of the way I looked, and very conscious that I had stretch marks, and very conscious that I was. That my biggest that I had been then, even though it's not bad, but I just felt like, I don't know, when I first started sixth form, one of the boys, a couple of weeks into it, he went, I thought you'd be really butch and masculine, because but you're actually really nice and girly, or something like that. And I was like, he was one of my friends, but he just said it like it was nothing. And I went,
like the shock factor.
And someone asked if I was a swimmer. And then I, like, why? Because why? It's just so, and you think, oh God, still there. So then in my brain I went, right, when I go to uni and I know lots of new people, then again, I'm going to do that. And then, and I guess like every like change change. You've just got to change your surroundings, and I guess maybe that will, and it still follows you. Like we were talking about this earlier, like it still follows you everywhere you go. But you grow,
different aspects.
grow.
It's the experiences that you kind of learn, and like, if I hear like someone use terminology that I just don't agree with, like there's the casual like body shaming is such a thing, like saying,
go there for a minute.
You're eating too much, or like you're. You look like you've lost some weight, or you look like you've gained weight, stuff like that.
You look well, have you lost weight?
Yeah,
that.
It's like, so you're associating my healthiness with how my body looks. Okay, I don't believe that you can tell someone's health from their body. I just don't. You're not their doctor. This is the one thing that I'm like, it drives me insane. But there's such a thing, isn't there? Like, oh, if you're really, really thin, you're really, really fat, and I don't even like those words very much, because it's so labelling, it's such a stigma, and I still feel I'm viewing it when I say like, I've reclaimed the word fat, that's just for me, but like if another woman or a man doesn't want to call themselves fat, that's fine, that's there, it's just like your personal thing.
Yeah.
But there is such a thing.
I love the fact that, say about your Twitter handle, how you've reclaimed the word fat.
So in school my nickname was the whale and Fat Phoebe, so of those, hearing that used to like destroy my soul, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna change my Twitter, and now it's just Fat Phoebe.
So your Twitter handle is now Fat Phoebe.
Yeah.
The fact that the bullies used to call you that, and now your Twitter.
And now I'm calling myself that.
Okay, that's me. Yeah. It would be the same. Gosh, we're so lucky that we are strong, and this is why I get really, really passionate, because I'm like, we're so lucky that we have all of these things, and we have no idea how lucky we are all the time. And I did this. I know this is about you. I'm going to talk about you really quickly. But did this thing called Life Strip Bare, and that was another thing that really made me think, because I couldn't leave the house without makeup on. I was 29. I couldn't leave the house without makeup on. I was still very conscious of the way people thought of me, and I felt like all of my belongings defined me, because that was what growing up, that's what I'd always had, is that I worked from a very young age where I had nice things or could buy things that I liked. And then I thought, oh, that makes me, because it's my thing. And then when I did Life Strip Bare, they took everything, including my clothes, everything, so I was completely stripped bare. And I feel like everyone should go through that, like where you have nothing, absolutely nothing. And yes, I was naked on TV, and it's very sensationalized, but for me personally, to be that exposed and to be that, for everyone, I think if one person could get something from that, where I couldn't even wear a swimsuit, or I couldn't wear shorts out for years and years and years, I didn't wear shorts or a skirt, because I was so worried that people would say, oh, my legs were too chunky, because the girls in my year would say that, or like I had little thread veins on my legs, and I remember going shopping with Mum, and Mum was like, get some shorts, and she just wanted to get me into shorts. And I said, I just can't, Mum. Honestly, if I sit there, what if I sit there at school and then someone looks down, they'll see? Yeah. Or like in PE, I hated it, so I made sure I had bigger shorts. And then it was just all of those things. And I think, God, this is why I see so much inspiration in you, because I think, like my cousin went, you're so brave for doing that. I didn't know you had any of that going on, and you're so brave for doing that one tiny thing. And my cousin was I think you're doing that for so many people now. And I think it's incredible. And I just think, keep going, keep bloody going. I just want to get all of it, like you've got so many brilliant things to say, and I feel like I can't even do justice asking you all these questions, because even talking about fat shaming and fat phobia, or all these things, they're like, I have body issues in a different way, where people would say, oh, you're not fat, or you're not, but that doesn't, and if you might be a size 6 and have incredible body issues and hang-ups, and that's what I mean about it's not just like with aesthetic laundry, doesn't want to go like that's why I said to you as well about plus size, and it's not because are you minus with if you're size 6 and size 8, it's every size
it's just a size. Yeah, I like that, like the one size thing.
Yeah, but then how do we all need, as an industry, I think it needs to change, because on our labels I made like small for like S for sassy, extra small for extra sassy, extra large for extra lovely, like trying to, and I think sometimes
those terms, I think those terms, because you fit into it, it's all the categories, because like we all see each other. The thing, appearance does matter, it just does, I think, in our society. I'd love to wish it wasn't all on appearance, but some people it is all about how you look online, that's it, not about what you do or what you've been through. So I think that's the whole sizing, like
it's crazy how size defines you. Like you used to go into a shop and feel so
like isolated. Like I felt isolated. I just didn't understand why no one else looked or wore, like, had to wear what I had to wear. Like, going in, what age would you say I went into women's clothing?
12.
Yeah, from as young as 12. To go into a women's section, and like, but looking back, I'm like, that's actually pretty cool. Like, I was like, that's pretty cool. But like then,
Sounds like me. And women's shoes.
yeah,
To have women's shoes.
I'm a size 8.5, 9, so I have to. My dog's luckily unisex, so it's fine. But like, no, going to like that other bit. But that this is the thing in schools. These conversations need to be held from a young age. It needs to be said that your bodies are going to change. Girls and guys, you're gonna get some stretch marks sometime. You're gonna get. You need to tell girls something. This is completely derailing what we're saying, but normalise body hair, like normalise body hair, please, especially for women. Because oh my god, it is. Shaving is the bane of my life. That's a whole other thing.
Trust me, and I will sometimes leave my armpit hair and I'll be like, oh my god, I haven't shaved today. Because I think, oh, show realness, like, I haven't shaved today. But also, why am I hiding it? It's fine.
It's
but
fine.
there is still
that thing.
stigma with it. Definitely.
But it's just that conversation in school needs to be, really especially for girls, that, because puberty, your body is going to change. It's like, some girls are going to lose a lot of weight, some girls are going to gain a lot of weight. Just like normalise that and have those conversations.
Yeah.
And then not like, because I remember like sex ed classes, it would never be talking about stuff like that. It would be like, you're going to get a period. Okay, not every woman is in this planet is going to get a period, or they're going to get. I didn't have periods for a couple of years, did I? Because of my condition, and we didn't know what it was at first, but like. That wasn't talked about. I know it's a lot of topics they need to cover, but they need to be covered.
Yeah.
So it's ingrained in you, because all this other stuff is ingrained in us now, which I'm trying to dig at it and be like, no, Phoebe, that's not how it is anymore, or like, we can flip it, but it is ingrained within a lot from a young age.
Yeah, massively. Even at university, we were taught to draw fashion illustrations differently, how you would draw normally. So we did body, like, what's it called, life drawing, where you would draw the form in beautiful shapes, sizes, men, women, everything. But then when it came to drawing clothes, we would get penalised if we didn't put them, we had to basically split out the body. So you'd normally like dissect it into 8 parts. You had to put it into 9.5 parts, and all the fashion tutors would tell us was that clothes look better on longer, taller, skinnier women. That's why models are size 6. That's why they have to be above 5'9". That was in 2009 still, and it's like, wow. And then I remember at the time being like, oh my goodness. Oh, like,
what message does that give out?
Yeah.
And you have to change.
Yeah. And so what? And then I only thought, I was walking back home the other day when I was preparing for this, and I was like, why has nobody said that you're, I get very passionate about this, that why are you drawing clothes for people that you want to sell to real people and that you want to make for real people to empower them? Why are you stretching it and making it only for those people? Why? I don't understand.
And they're probably not they're paid to wear the clothes. Like, that's the other thing. They're not going to wear them all the time.
Exactly. But even Joss was saying she remembers a size 10 to 12 in the modelling industry being known as plus size. 10 to 12. This is what and who decides? So it should be the brand.
People who aren't even plus size, like, no, that really, like, does, I don't get annoyed that often, but like, stuff like that, because the average size of a woman in the UK, I can't do statistics. 16. Yeah. So 16.
That's why we've got Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Because she's a 16. She is our glamorous modelling assistant. But yeah, because
that is the average size.
That's the average size.
Of a woman in the UK, and it's just, how is size 12 even? No. Yeah. No, I don't even know what to say about that.
There was a point, and there's people that you can't help being larger for an illness or some sort of reason, whatever reason it is, or if you enjoy being large, that's fine.
That's the other thing.
Why should you be like stigmatized? Maybe I'm just picking too much on it, but like, why should you be called plus size? Yeah. And I love the fact that you've come and said, I'm going to be a plus size model for Aesthetic Laundry, but I was like, no, you're you're going to be a model.
Instead of putting that's another. I'm trying to not like. I'm just gonna do. I'm not. I don't always have to say I'm a plus size woman, but I don't know.
Does it make you feel? Because I
think because I wanted to not be it for so long.
Yeah.
Even though I was, I fought it, and now I'm not fighting it. I think it just brings a level of comfort for me.
Yeah.
But I just wish we wouldn't use these terms of like plus size, petite. But it's just how it's been how to describe people, like fat and thin. But the word fat and thin, they both come with such negative connotations to both of them.
Yeah.
They both have
because you can be very, very thin and very, very poorly doing it to yourself, or you can be very, very naturally very, very thin.
Yeah.
And
not doing it to yourself.
Yeah,
exactly.
I just wish the industry, for me, I'd love the industry to change. I know it's a huge change, but I think that it's definitely time for change within the industry. And I think to somehow regulate sizing, you know, like A, B, C, like grades in school is now like 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Like something needs to change where it's like it's okay, like it's talked about and say I'm a 4, I'm a this, I'm an 8, or I'm a 16, and for it to, I don't know what the answer is, but I just feel like.
No, but there needs to be that change because it's such a like. I used to feel like shameful if I was like, oh, I'm a size 18. It's not even that big. Oh, this is the thing when people say they feel fat. One thing I know that the women's hour stuff was how does fat feel? They meant the emotion that comes like what the challenge is and what they've been through. But when people are like, oh, I feel so fat today. Well, one of them, they're literally not fat because you're then fueling the stigma. You're then being like, so you feel so fat and you're saying that in a negative way. So it's a bad thing then. So you're basically it's just offensive. I find it offensive. People say that, and it's just that when people say it and they're literally not. It just really, really bothers me. Where have these labels come from? Why do we why do we say plus size and petite, and then there's just the normal range? Because if you go shopping online, there's got maternity, plus size and curve. You've got tall, petite, and I know it's because everyone's different sizes, so it's finding the right fit for you. But if you just like use always different terms for it, or didn't, because there's such negative connotations that come with all those words anyway. Yeah, it's just
Do you find it easier shopping online because do you shop online at all, or do you prefer to shop in person? Is that
I think I used to. I used to buy a lot of my stuff online, but at the moment I'm really trying not to do fast fashion as much. So I'm buying from like vintage shops. Yes. From like vintage shops and charity shops. I love a charity shop, honestly. So I think probably 16-year-old me would have been for me it was just ASOS. Because they had a good range for women who were larger and I found that they did anyway. Yeah. But then I thought, thinking the last few months, I'm like, oh, but don't want to think about where their clothes are made and like how much, I was trying not to shop as much from them.
In terms of size, what size do you usually buy on the high street? And why, maybe? So for example, I wear oversized clothes because I feel I still carry
said that earlier.
Yeah. If you don't feel comfortable, then you actually don't have to.
Again, I used to. I'm saying I used to a lot. It's just the comparison. I used to buy lots of oversized clothes. I wouldn't buy stuff that was tight fitting. I was really anxious to show off my boobs and stuff. I have really, really big boobs. And also I've got a bit older, so I feel a bit more comfortable showing all of that off as well. But I think I used to buy a deficit, or I'd like overestimate my size. I probably wouldn't even be that big, but I'd be like, oh, maybe I need like a size 24 because I just want to cover. Now I say I know my size would be between anything from a 16 to a 20, I would say, if you're using the number system, or anything between a medium and an extra. It's just different types of clothing, just how they fit. But I do wear some type of clothes. I'm not ashamed of it, or if I've got like back fat or stomach rolls. It doesn't bother me, but I think it would have bothered me.
Yeah, and I love that you had that vest on the other day, and I was like, hello, Cleve. You had I think it was a dress, but I just saw the top half on a Facebook post, and you had like a strappy. I think it was a dress.
Oh, the green one.
Yeah.
Oh, my green dress. Oh,
love.
Top shop sale, £8.
Oh my gosh.
I've worn it once to a party because it was a Halloween party, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go as a powerful woman, so I'll wear the dress. That's the only time. I don't even know when I'm gonna wear it ever, but it's just I was like, I have that dress. I put it on the other day because I was doing a clothes sort, and I was like, I'm just gonna take some pictures because that look really good.
You can even wear that with a tiny little top underneath, like a little t-shirt underneath for day wear. Nice.
Mum, Write that down.
We got it on video. We're all good. We're all good. I know we've touched on this before, but when and how did you find the confidence to start talking about mental health? And do you have a goal in terms of what you would like to achieve by speaking out?
When did I start talking about mental health? I think the conversation probably started with my family. I've been in therapy for a long time, and so because
That helps.
being open with my family. I went through I think probably the change was I went through a therapy which is called DBT, which is dialectical behavioural therapy. It's for when you're self-harming a lot, your suicide attempts are very frequent, you're really just not able to function in life without harming yourself, and it's kind of learning why your mind is the way that you are. It was like a group therapy.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
Speaking
2
in front
hours
of
a
a
week.
group
Yeah,
about-
you wouldn't talk about necessarily like past stuff, because a lot of us have been through traumas, so it was like you wouldn't necessarily go, but you would. We all knew why we were there, so it was kind of, it was open, and if something really upset you or triggered you, then you know you go out the room. But it was I'm so grateful for it. And then you'd have like an individual therapy as well once a week. So it was really intense, and that went on for a long time. And then I think since then, and then when I left finally, I did a little talk at the end about how it helped me.
You do like a
That was-
handout
yeah,
to
so I was kind of
say.
just shared what I'd done, and that was kind of like, ooh, I've just talked about that, and like I've got that off my chest, and that's gonna help. And it's still, there's my friend Kira, who was from DBT, she still said she was so grateful that I was there that day. So I still remember that. Like that was so nice to hear.
God.
So that was like the first thing I remember anyway, of the sort of, oh, like I actually can talk about this. This isn't something I need to hide, because I did hide my therapy in school. It's obviously quite hard to hide like self-harm and stuff, but I did really try to hide it, and so that kind of like be like, oh, I can be open about this. And I think I wasn't really open about it at school, and there wasn't a lot of support in school, so that wasn't. But when I got to college, I kind of realised a lot of people have mental health issues, and that openness. I think also going on Women's Hour, because we talked about my self-harm on that as well, and what came from that, from being larger, has that caused mental health issues? And I'd say it used to, definitely.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know how like
And now I feel like
that shifts.
you're using all of that, and then now you're helping. So what are you doing now? Because you've got a volunteering.
Yes, like volunteering for doing mental health work with a organisation where I live. So we're trying to create more services and like show what's available to young people. So I'm doing some work with that, because I've been through so many of the services.
That's that gonna rub.
It's like the participation side of it. I'm a young person. I can give my experience literally back to like the NHS. And
Brand new information.
so we'll be doing like interviews for people who are coming to work as like a clinical nurse or like a psychiatrist. Actually have young people interviewing them to be like, they're like, because
they'd be good.
they'd be good. Or something they just said is like really, really impressive.
Okay.
So having that young person's perspective, because they're not going to be working with the people who are interviewing them, are they? Well, they'll be working together, but they're not going to be actually like doing therapy with them. So I think that's kind of so doing
that's
stuff like
really
that.
good. That's really good. And you're one of the youngest people.
Yes, at my organisation, I am the youngest.
I started at the beginning saying how inspiring you are, and anyone watching this will now be in total agreement. So it seems pretty apt to mention that it's International Women's Day this Sunday, and I would love to know a few of the women that inspire you. Oh, don't say that! Oh my goodness.
I'm your mum. Love you. You and your company and Joss and Liv. I love everything you post. Watch it all. Share as much as I can. Oh, I love it.
Oh.
My mum. We'll get on why you inspire me in a minute. My sisters, definitely. My friends. On the social media side, there's a blogger she's called Nerd About Town. Stephanie, she was so Women's Hour plugged. I was on Women's Hour, just to plug that. I was on Women's Hour.
On Women's Hour,
Did you know I
everyone.
was on
Twice,
Women's Hour?
not just once, but
Yeah.
twice on Women's Hour.
So there was a little series from influencers before, and they were talking about the word fat, and so I saw that she had done that, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to be on the same thing that she did. So I kind of followed her from there, and she is just incredible. Felicity Hayward, she started this company called Self Love Brings Beauty. I will send that. Oh, incredible.
Okay.
So just inclusivity.
I want to write these down.
Yeah. Get them all down. Literally amazing. And there's Body Positive Panda, do you know her?
Yes, Body Positive Panda.
She is amazing. I love
Amazing
her.
hair.
Oh, the
It's
best.
amazing.
Well, I want to talk about why my mum inspires me, because don't cry. Cause, no, she's very strong, very resilient
Do you want
woman.
to come over here?
No.
Okay.
Stay hidden. You've been in a few times, haven't you? But you've come back through it, and you've been through stuff, and you just, for me and my sister's biggest role model ever. And you support us in everything we do, so we love you.
Thank you. Well, Phoebe, it's been amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. And we're going to now take some photos.
Yes.
And you're going to give me all of the looks for some new summer pieces. And let me know how they feel and how, because we're still in the development stage with some of them, so I want to know how you feel in it, whether you'd wear it, if not, why, if you would, why, how comfortable you are, and everything.
Okay.
So, yeah, be honest.
Yeah.
Cool. This has been amazing. Thank you. Yeah, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else?